All right, and you're making reference to this report, which people can go to your website and download a free copy of it. But that's the open metaverse under attack.
Yeah.
You go through a bunch of sections and talk about things, risks of Web 2.5, the way forward. Obviously, you talk about this under pressure. So you're seeing the Web 3 being co-opted by private institutions and governments. I guess Meta shot the first shot over the bow. Yat said about that, he said it looks as if because of the centralization, they won't be able to pull that off.
Yes.
Which was interesting. But yeah, maybe tell me a little bit more about some of the report.
Yeah.
You agree with that?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay.
So
that's an interesting concept in itself.
So maybe to kind of just base this paper in its kind of predecessors. So we did the first paper called the Open Metabus OS as an operating system, January 21. And that really laid out like a very optimistic perspective on how Web3 and at that time the emergence of NFTs would allow for an operating system for a more open metaverse. So, direction of travel is the web's getting more immersive, right? And that doesn't necessarily require ubiquitous AR glasses from Apple or everybody with a VR headset. But, we are investing more and more time in a digital sense, work, social, play. Those experiences are becoming much more immersive, and increasingly our income, wealth, and well-being is coming from what we would term more broadly as the metaverse. And it was our premise that with innovations, so NFTs, most people think of NFTs in the context of like art or stuff like that. NFTs are just non-fungible assets. So, a Bitcoin is fungible. You don't really care which Bitcoin is a Bitcoin, like most commodities, right? But with a non-fungible thing, that's pretty much everything else in life is non-fungible. Like you care where it's come from, you care the specificity of that versus the other thing. And so it was a premise that with the innovation and the maturing stack of around NFTs, that more and more things that were digital could be unique, could have value, and would ultimately lead to digital property rights, which is at fundamental odds with the Web 2, which is oriented toward platforms and shareholder supremacy. So we've got a platform, and our job is to maximize value for the shareholders. At the expense of users, if so be it, or navigating that tension. Facebook's best example. Don't need to go into that. Everybody, fully appreciates that. Amazon's another good example. You're a seller on Amazon until you're not, right? Until Amazon realizes they can just do it themselves. Great, perfect user experiences, free product or whatever else, but you're the product. Now, the premise was Web3 changes that. It allows us to turn things that are intangible in a digital sense into tangible value. So if it's of value and it's digital, it could be turned into a fungible or non-fungible asset somehow. And you could have peer-to-peer markets where there would be price discovery and value transfer. And as more and more things got understood as having a value, a financial value, then they could be used as collateral in DeFi. And that was kind of the core premise. So example, I'm a gamer, I'm spending a huge amount of money in gaming, buying in-game items and assets. And really, they're just digital consumables. I'm consuming them in that space. I'm not really expecting necessarily that they're an investment or I'm going to recoup my investment. And generally speaking, if I want to exit that platform, that game, I'm bored or whatever else, you write off the loss. Technically, a lot of platforms won't let you move value off platform or even have like a peer-to-peer transaction. They'll revoke your account, So you have no digital property rights. Whatever you think of notional wealth in Web 2 is at the permission of a platform. And so the promise of Web 3 was in gaming, if those assets were non-fungible. I had full control over them. I could freely move them off a platform. I could freely sell them. I could collateralize them in DeFi. Then all of a sudden, think about how much value is invested by gamers in gaming. That becomes officially recognized financial value. And somebody somewhere on the planet would give you a loan on it, notionally. It just takes one person to agree it has value. Now, you might have to over-collateralize or whatever else, but it will function. And there's so many other things, so many other examples. Gaming is just kind of the easier one. And if you think about all the things that are digital that people know have value, but you go into your bank and say, hey, like I need a short-term emergency loan. Okay, what do you got? Well, I got some, I've got a big sword in this game, and I go, yeah, okay, good luck. So a large majority of people, especially the younger and younger you go, are financially excluded from the existing system. Things that they invest in, time, money, attention, are not acknowledged by the existing financial system. So our premise was that that the open metaverse will allow that financial inclusion. And because these are open and free markets, things that are transferable, where you have digital property rights, will be valued at a premium versus things that can't and don't. But it was very optimistic, and we were seeing, that paper was very optimistic. We were seeing everything was mooning, Axie Infinities with play to earn was going crazy. People were still in this kind of COVID mindset, virtual reality. People were thinking everyone was going to be spending more time virtual reality. Anyway, we fast forward to 2 years, right? And we kind of, every so often we'll do this paper, a thesis. We don't do them every year just for the sake of it. We don't even necessarily do them at the end of the beginning of the year. It's just like when we think there's something material to say, something's changed, for better or for worse, so often both, right? And kind of Christmas this year was one of those moments. We'd had last year, 22, and everything that went wrong in crypto, and how that kind of really tarnished the industry. I think wrongly. A lot of the failings were because things weren't being done within the ethos or the technologies of Web3. But we'd also seen, Operation Choke Point with crypto more generally in the US. Huge regulatory pressure on fundamental things around even just open source technology. Tornado Cash, because it was believed that the North Koreans were using it to kind of use proceeds from hacking to finance state terrorism. Very simple kind of smart contract code. Somebody got arrested, the developer in the Netherlands. GitHub blocked the code. Now, this really takes us back to like some basic principles around open source code as old as cryptography itself. I'm sure you'll remember in the 90s, people were walking around with open source code cryptography on t-shirts because there's an export ban on it. And it's like, okay, well, stop me getting on a plane with a t-shirt with some code on. Free speech argument, applied to code, cryptography. And so it's everything from this regulatory pressure and is it security, is it not a security, everything that's been going on with Ripple and XRP, Coinbase now, Binance, just the markets level, but then also banning of privacy coins not being listed. We're seeing transactions for stablecoins being censored or reversed. Most people don't know, but most of the popular stablecoins are regulated in the US with the right letter from the right agency. The operator is obliged to block that wallet address, reverse the transaction. So these are not censor-proof technologies.
So Jim Rickards has just recorded a video that's not available to anyone in the public, and he's going to be talking about how this upcoming recession is going to be fast, it's going to be bloody, it's going to be nasty. But at the same time, he's going to show you how you can position yourself to profit from all of this chaos. Now, we've made this video only available to our viewers. Go to londonreal.tv/Jim. Watch that immediately. I can't say enough good things about Jim Rickards. He understands the global economic system better than any guest I've ever had on London Real. His predictions are almost uncannily true, and you can learn how to profit from his vision, from his expertise, and his understanding of economics. So go to londonreal.tv/Jim or click the link below. It's an excellent, excellent look on what's going to happen in the future and how you can position yourself to profit from that. Jim is one of the best in the business, one of my favorite guests on London Real, and he's very, very good at predicting the future and showing us all to profit from it. So click the link, and I hope you enjoy. The greedy bankers are about to do it again. In 2008, they crashed our financial system and nearly bankrupted the entire global economy. Then they received trillions of dollars in government bailouts. And after, they demanded fat bonuses paid for by you, the taxpayer.
It turns out the banks haven't just been screwing the American taxpayers, they're also screwing over their investors. Turns out the banking industry is the worst place you could put your money, despite enormous taxpayer bailouts.
Now the bankers are back to take away your financial freedom. They lie and tell you that cryptocurrency isn't safe. They try to make it illegal for you to choose how to invest your hard-earned money. They lie and say cryptocurrency is used by money launderers and criminals. But look at the record. It's the banks themselves that launder hundreds of billions of dollars every year to the biggest criminal operations in the world.
Leaked documents have revealed how some UK banks have helped criminals, money launderers and Russians under sanctions.
American authorities discovered that the Sinaloa cartel moved $881 million through HSBC accounts as bank officials turned a blind eye to the illegality.
The bankers lie and say cryptocurrency is not a real investment. Meanwhile, the smartest CEOs in the world are buying billions and billions of it. The truth is that banks lie about cryptocurrency because it makes them scared. The banks take $9 trillion per year of your hard-earned money, and they are worried that they will finally be exposed. They're scared because crypto means they can no longer control your money, which means they can no longer control you. They are scared because you might actually understand your money and intelligently decide what to do with it. Now is the time for us to come together, fight back, and take control. It's time to educate ourselves, our families, and our communities. Because financial education means financial freedom. We know that cryptocurrencies will help us build the new decentralized financial system of the future. A banking system that is of the people, by the people, and for the people. A banking system where access to finance is a fundamental human right. A banking system that is free and fair and welcomes all humans on this earth. The DeFi revolution is happening. We, the people, can no longer be fooled. We choose to take control of our finances. We choose to take control of our freedom. We choose to take control of our future. Join us, and let's take back our financial freedom forever.